Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video from our channel. In this video, we'll be highlighting American celebrities who have passed away today and in the last few days, along with other notable figures from around the world. Before we proceed, we kindly ask you to show your love and support by giving this video a like. It means a lot to us. Thank you. And now, let's begin.
Lee Tamahori, the visionary New Zealand filmmaker behind Once Were Warriors and Die Another Day, has passed away at 75. Born in Wellington in 1950 with both British and Maori roots, Tamahori made his debut in 1994 with Once Were Warriors, a raw and powerful drama that became New Zealand's biggest box office success. Its impact made him an international name overnight. Soon after, Hollywood came calling. He directed Mulholland Falls with Nick Nolte, followed by the intense survival thriller The Edge, starring Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. His momentum continued with Along Came a Spider, featuring Morgan Freeman as Detective Alex Cross, and the James Bond blockbuster Die Another Day, where Pierce Brosnan made his final appearance as 007. Tamahori later brought his signature style to action hits like XXX, State of the Union, and Next with Nicolas Cage, proving his versatility across genres. In his final years, he returned home to create Mahana and The Convert, two acclaimed dramas celebrating Maori identity and storytelling. From the streets of Wellington to the heights of Hollywood, Lee Tamahori's legacy stands as a powerful reminder of how one filmmaker changed the way the world saw New Zealand cinema. Marshawn Kneeland, a rising NFL talent and a promising Dallas Cowboys player, has died at just 24. Born and raised in Michigan, Kneeland's journey from small-town college standout to professional football star was nothing short of inspiring. Drafted in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft, he quickly earned the respect of teammates and fans with his determination, humility, and drive to succeed. In his final game on November 3rd, he delivered one of the most memorable moments of his young career, recovering a blocked punt in the end zone for his first NFL touchdown. It was a glimpse of the greatness many believed was just beginning. Over 2 seasons, Kneeland appeared in 18 games, recording 26 tackles, 4 quarterback hits, and a sack, leaving behind the promise of what could have been an incredible career. Before joining the Cowboys, he made his mark at Western Michigan University, where his leadership and talent made him one of the standout players for the Broncos. His legacy now lives on not only in the stats he left behind, but in the inspiration he gave to every young athlete chasing a dream. Diane Ladd, the legendary actress whose unforgettable performances lit up classics like Chinatown, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, and Wild at Heart, has passed away at 89. A 3-time Oscar nominee and the mother of actress Laura Dern, Ladd's presence on screen was both commanding and deeply human, the mark of a true Hollywood icon. Born to captivate the stage, she began her career in theater before Hollywood took notice. Early roles in Something Wild, 1961, and 40 Pounds of Trouble, 1962, led to standout performances in some of the most celebrated films of the 20th century. Across 6 decades in film and television, Ladd built one of the richest careers in entertainment, appearing in beloved productions like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, Primary Colors, and Joy. On television, she earned Emmy nominations for Grace Under Fire, Touched by an Angel, and Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, continuing to inspire audiences well into her later years with roles in Young Sheldon and Ziggy and Nate. With warmth, strength, and timeless artistry, Diane Ladd defined what it meant to be a true Hollywood star, leaving behind a legacy that will continue to shine for generations.
Alice and Ellen Kessler were more than just performers. They were a phenomenon. Born in Germany in 1936, they stepped into the spotlight as children and never left it. With their tall frames, radiant smiles, and flawless choreography, the Kessler twins became international symbols of elegance and discipline. They weren't just invited to the stage, they owned it. In Italy, they became national sensations, redefining television entertainment during the golden age of variety shows. Their presence on Studio One turned them into household names, while their image graced magazine covers, film screens, and ad campaigns across Europe. But it wasn't long before America took notice. Their appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show and The Dean Martin Show weren't just guest spots, they were cultural moments. What made them unforgettable wasn't just their beauty or talent, but the way they performed in perfect unison, as if one soul splits into two. Their timing was so precise, it felt like choreography written by instinct. Over the years, while other stars came and went, the Kesslers endured because they adapted, they stayed true to their brand, and above all, they delivered. Long before social media, they built a global following based purely on performance. Offstage, they maintained privacy and dignity, never chasing headlines. And yet their absence from the spotlight only deepened the mystique. Their story is one of talent, loyalty, and a lifelong bond that defied time. Even in their final chapter, they remained in control, exiting life as they lived it, side by side with elegance. Dan McGrath's journey through comedy wasn't just impressive, it was foundational to some of television's most beloved eras. His sharp wit and fearless sense of humor helped define the voice of a generation. From Saturday Night Live in the early 90s to the animated brilliance of The Simpsons, McGrath shaped the laughs that millions grew up with. While still at Harvard, his work with the Harvard Lampoon put him on the radar of TV's elite. That connection wasn't a coincidence. It was talent meeting opportunity. At SNL, he quickly earned a reputation for sketches that were both smart and unexpected, cementing his place among writers who knew how to push boundaries while making audiences roar. But it was in animation where McGrath found his long-term creative home. His Emmy-winning work on The Simpsons during seasons 4 to 6 contributed to what many fans consider the show's golden era. Episodes during that time weren't just funny, they were layered, satirical, and timeless. And Dan had his fingerprints all over that success. From Springfield to Arlen, Texas, where he contributed to King of the Hill and even Muppets Tonight, McGrath showed that great writing wasn't about one format. It was about understanding people, timing, and tone. Though he preferred to stay out of the spotlight, his scripts spoke volumes. Dan McGrath wasn't just a writer, he was a blueprint for what smart comedy could be. His legacy lives on in the laughs he gave us and the shows that still carry his voice. Tatsuya Nakadai, celebrated as one of the most influential figures in Japanese cinema, passed away on November 8th at the age of 92. Her remarkable career spanned more than 70 decades, with over 160 film credits that shaped the landscape of international filmmaking. Nakadai's rise to stardom began in a chance moment on a Tokyo street where he was discovered by director Masaki Kobayashi. That encounter led to an artistic partnership across 11 films, including the Human Condition trilogy and Harakiri, works that defined post-war Japanese storytelling with emotional depth and philosophical intensity. He later delivered unforgettable performances in Ron, Yojimbo, Seven Samurai, The Sword of Doom, High and Low, and When a Woman Ascends the Stairs, solidifying his reputation as an actor capable of portraying silent anguish, commanding power, and complex moral struggle with equal mastery. His presence on screen helped bridge Japanese cinema to audiences worldwide, inspiring generations of filmmakers and performers. Throughout his career, Nakadai was honored with prestigious accolades, including 2 Blue Ribbon Awards, recognizing both his artistic influence and his ability to elevate every project he touched. In 2015, he received Japan's highest honor in arts and sciences, the Order of Culture, acknowledging his lifelong contributions to the nation's cultural legacy. Yet his passion extended far beyond film. Nakadai remained devoted to the stage, studying theater throughout his life and founding an acting school in 1975 to train new talent in the craft he cherished. His legacy lives not only in iconic roles, but in the actors he mentored, the productions he shaped, and the global appreciation he helped cultivate for Japanese cinema. His departure marks the end of an era, but his body of work continues to speak across languages, generations, and borders, reminding audiences everywhere why he's revered as one of history's great cinematic masters.
Sir Richard Branson is mourning the passing of his wife and partner of 50 years, Joan Templeman, who died at age 80. In a heartfelt post, Branson called her his best friend, his rock, and the most loving mother and grandmother anyone could ask for. Their love story began in London, where he met Joan while she worked at an antique shop. From that first meeting, he knew she was unlike anyone he'd ever met, strong, grounded, and unimpressed by fame. Their bond was so powerful that Branson famously bought Necker Island to show his love. Years later, it became their wedding location and later their children's. Joan remained private throughout their life together, always staying out of the spotlight while supporting her family behind the scenes. Her quiet strength and unwavering love shaped the foundation of their lives. Branson's tribute is a powerful reminder of a lifelong partnership built on love, respect, and loyalty. Joan Templeman leaves behind not just memories, but a legacy of deep family connection that continues through her children and grandchildren.
Daniel Michael DeVito Jr. was born on November 17, 1944, in Neptune Township, New Jersey, into a working-class Italian-American family. His parents, Daniel DeVito Sr. and Julia DeVito, ran several small businesses in the area, including a dry cleaning establishment and a luncheonette. Growing up in Asbury Park, young Danny was the youngest of 5 children, raised in a household where hard work and family values were paramount. His sisters were incredibly protective of him, creating a nurturing environment despite the economic challenges the family faced during the post-war years. From an early age, DeVito's stature set him apart from his peers. He was born with Fairbanks disease, a rare genetic disorder that affects bone growth, resulting in his distinctive height of 4 feet 10 inches. This condition, also known as multiple epiphyseal dysplasia, would shape much of his childhood experience and later influence his approach to acting and life in general. Rather than allowing his physical difference to become a limitation, DeVito's family encouraged him to develop his personality, wit, and charm as his greatest assets. The neighborhood where DeVito grew up was a vibrant community filled with diverse characters who would later serve as inspiration for many of the roles he would portray. The streets of Asbury Park in the 50s and 60s were alive with small businesses, corner stores, and the kind of colorful personalities that populate working-class communities. DeVito absorbed these observations like a sponge, watching how people interacted, how they spoke, and how they carried themselves through life's challenges. School presented its own set of challenges and opportunities for the young DeVito. While some children can be cruel about differences, Danny developed a quick wit and sharp sense of humor that became his shield and sword. He learned to make people laugh before they could make fun of him, a survival technique that would later become one of his greatest professional strengths. His teachers noticed his natural charisma and ability to command attention, even in a crowded classroom. He wasn't necessarily the best student academically, but he had something that couldn't be taught: presence. His relationship with his parents was foundational to his character development. His mother, Julia, was a strong, determined woman who instilled in her children the importance of resilience and self-respect. She never allowed Danny to see his height as a disability, instead emphasizing his intelligence, humor, and talent. His father, hardworking and pragmatic, taught him the value of perseverance and the dignity of honest work. These lessons would stay with DeVito throughout his life, influencing both his work ethic and his approach to the entertainment industry. Danny DeVito's journey into acting began somewhat unexpectedly when his sister encouraged him to enroll at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. This decision would prove to be life-changing. At the Academy, he met Michael Douglas, forming a friendship that would span decades and lead to numerous professional collaborations. The early 70s found DeVito working in off-Broadway productions, honing his craft and developing the unique performance style that would become his trademark. His breakthrough came with the role of Martini in the 1975 film adaptation of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, directed by Milos Forman and starring Jack Nicholson. Though it was a supporting role, DeVito's performance was memorable and opened doors in Hollywood. He brought a genuine humanity to the character, demonstrating that he could do far more than play comedic roles. The film's massive success and critical acclaim, including winning the Academy Award for Best Picture, gave DeVito valuable exposure and credibility in the industry. However, it was television that would make Danny DeVito a household name. In 1978, he joined the cast of the sitcom Taxi as the dispatcher Louis De Palma, a role that would define much of his early career. Louis was abrasive, manipulative, scheming, and utterly hilarious. DeVito threw himself into the character with such commitment that audiences couldn't help but be captivated, even when Louis was at his most despicable. The role earned him an Emmy Award in 1981 and multiple nominations throughout the show's run, which lasted until 1983. Taxi became one of the most beloved sitcoms of its era, and DeVito's performance was consistently cited as one of its highlights. The success of Taxi gave DeVito the platform to pursue film roles with greater selectivity and ambition. In 1984, he appeared in Romancing the Stone alongside Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, playing the villain Ralph. The film was a commercial smash hit, leading to a sequel, The Jewel of the Nile, in 1985, where DeVito reprised his role. These adventure comedies showcased his ability to play antagonists who were both threatening and comedic, a balance that few actors could achieve so effectively. DeVito's collaboration with director Barry Levinson resulted in one of his most iconic performances in Tin Men in 1987, where he starred opposite Richard Dreyfuss. The film explored the lives of aluminum siding salesmen in 1960s Baltimore, and DeVito's portrayal was both funny and deeply human. That same year, he took a bold step by making his directorial debut with Throw Mama from the Train, in which he also starred alongside Billy Crystal. The dark comedy about a student who wants to murder his ex-wife and a dim-witted man who wants to kill his domineering mother showed DeVito's skill behind the camera, balancing humor with genuinely dark themes. The late 80s brought one of DeVito's most beloved roles, Arnold Schwarzenegger's twin brother in Twins. The 1988 comedy played on the extreme physical contrast between the two actors, creating a premise that was absurd yet endearing. DeVito played Vincent Benedict, the street-smart, somewhat shady brother to Schwarzenegger's naive but pure-hearted Julius. The chemistry between the two actors was electric, and the film became a massive box office success, grossing over $200 million worldwide. It proved that DeVito could carry a major studio comedy as a leading man. Building on this success, DeVito reunited with Schwarzenegger for Kindergarten Cop in 1990, though in a smaller role, and the two would collaborate again years later. But it was DeVito's turn as the Penguin in Tim Burton's Batman Returns in 1992 that demonstrated his range as a performer. His portrayal of Oswald Cobblepot was grotesque, tragic, and strangely sympathetic. DeVito disappeared completely into the role, spending hours in makeup and prosthetics to become the deformed villain. The performance was praised for its depth and darkness, showing audiences that DeVito could handle serious, complex characters in big-budget blockbusters. As a director, DeVito continued to develop his craft with The War of the Roses in 1989, another collaboration with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. This pitch-black comedy about a divorcing couple who refused to leave their house showcased DeVito's willingness to explore the darker aspects of human nature. The film was both hilarious and deeply uncomfortable, a testament to his directorial vision. He followed this with Hoffa in 1992, a biographical film about labor union leader Jimmy Hoffa, starring Jack Nicholson in the title role. DeVito not only directed but also played Bobby Chiaro, Hoffa's fictional right-hand man, demonstrating his ability to handle serious dramatic material. The mid-90s saw DeVito in a string of successful comedies. He starred in and directed Matilda in 1996, based on Roald Dahl's beloved children's book. Playing the despicable father Harry Wormwood, DeVito created a family film that was both entertaining and surprisingly faithful to Dahl's darker sensibilities. The film has since become a cult classic, beloved by children and adults alike. That same year, he appeared in Mars Attacks, Tim Burton's ensemble science fiction comedy, and in Get Shorty, based on Elmore Leonard's novel, where he played Martin Weir, a pretentious actor. DeVito's work in the late 90s and early 2000s included a mix of voice acting, character roles, and continued directing. He lent his distinctive voice to Philoctetes in Disney's Hercules in 1997, bringing warmth and humor to the satyr trainer. He appeared in Living Out Loud in 1998, Man on the Moon in 1999 as George Shapiro, and Death to Smoochie in 2002, which he also directed. While not all of these films were commercial successes, they demonstrated DeVito's commitment to taking creative risks and working on projects that interested him personally. Television called DeVito back in a major way in 2006 when he joined the cast of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as Frank Reynolds. The role revitalized his television career and introduced him to a new generation of fans. When Danny DeVito joined It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia in its second season, the show was still a scrappy, low-budget comedy on FX that few people had heard of. The creators, Rob McElhenney, Glenn Howerton, and Charlie Day, had developed a show about terrible people doing terrible things in Philadelphia, and they needed a boost to survive. DeVito's addition was a gamble that paid off spectacularly. His character, Frank Reynolds, was introduced as the wealthy father figure to Dennis and Dee Reynolds, but he quickly devolved into perhaps the most depraved character on a show full of deplorable people. Frank Reynolds allowed DeVito to explore comedic territory that was both absurd and transgressive. The character had no moral compass whatsoever, engaging in schemes that ranged from the ridiculous to the genuinely disturbing, all played for dark comedy. DeVito threw himself into the role with an enthusiasm that bordered on reckless abandon. He crawled out of couches naked, covered himself in hand sanitizer, ate garbage, and delivered lines that would make most actors blush. At an age when many performers might coast on their legacy, DeVito was doing some of the most fearless comedy of his career. The show's improvisational nature and willingness to push boundaries suited DeVito perfectly. His decades of experience brought gravitas and professional discipline to the production, while his willingness to be utterly ridiculous matched the energy of his younger castmates. The chemistry between DeVito and Charlie Day became particularly notable, with Frank and Charlie's bizarre friendship becoming one of the show's most enduring dynamics. Episodes like The Nightman Cometh and Charlie Work showcased not just DeVito's comedic timing, but also his willingness to support ensemble work and elevate his fellow actors. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia became one of the longest-running live-action sitcoms in American television history, and DeVito's presence was crucial to its longevity and success. The show gave him creative freedom to experiment and take risks in ways that mainstream Hollywood productions rarely allowed. He wasn't just an actor on the show, he became an executive producer, using his industry connections and experience to help secure the show's future. His involvement lent credibility to the production and helped it transition from cult favorite to genuine cultural phenomenon. Beyond Always Sunny, DeVito continued to work steadily in film throughout the 2000s and 2010s. He appeared in Deck the Halls in 2006, a Christmas comedy with Matthew Broderick, and Nobel's Son in 2007. He lent his voice to the Lorax in the 2012 animated adaptation of Dr. Seuss's environmental tale, bringing emotional depth to the character while staying true to the story's message. The film was commercially successful and introduced DeVito's voice work to yet another generation of children. His role in the 2019 live-action remake of Dumbo, directed by his frequent collaborator Tim Burton, saw DeVito playing Max Medici, a struggling circus owner. The performance was touching and demonstrated that even in his 70s, DeVito could bring genuine pathos to his roles. He understood how to balance sentiment with restraint, never allowing his characters to become overly sentimental or maudlin. This skill had been honed over decades of work and reflected his deep understanding of human nature. DeVito also embraced the world of streaming and limited series. He appeared in Wiener Dog in 2016, an ensemble dramedy that played at various film festivals. He continued to take on projects that interested him personally rather than chasing commercial success, a luxury afforded by his long career and financial security. His choices reflected an artist still curious about the craft, still willing to experiment, and still passionate about storytelling. As a producer, DeVito's company Jersey Films, which he founded with Michael Schamberg and Stacy Scher, had been responsible for numerous acclaimed films over the years. They produced Pulp Fiction, one of the most influential films of the 90s, along with Get Shorty, Out of Sight, Erin Brockovich, and Garden State. DeVito's role as a producer demonstrated his eye for quality material and his commitment to supporting emerging filmmakers. He used his position in the industry not just to advance his own career, but to help bring important stories to the screen. His voice work extended beyond animated films into video games and commercials. DeVito's distinctive voice became instantly recognizable, making him a sought-after talent for projects requiring a specific blend of warmth, humor, and edge. He understood that voice acting was its own skill set, requiring different techniques than on-camera performance, and he approached it with the same professionalism he brought to all his work. Throughout the 2010s, DeVito also became something of a social media presence, though he maintained a more measured approach than many celebrities. His Twitter account occasionally went viral, particularly a cryptic tweet that simply said, "I'm still here," which became an internet phenomenon. He seemed amused by his status as a beloved cultural figure, embracing the affection of younger fans who discovered him through Always Sunny while maintaining the respect of those who had followed his career since Taxi. His appearances on talk shows and at public events revealed a person who remained grounded despite decades of fame. DeVito was funny, self-deprecating, and genuinely engaged with interviewers and fans. He told stories about his career with humor and honesty, never pretending that Hollywood was anything other than a business, but also expressing genuine gratitude for the opportunities he had received. There was no bitterness or cynicism in his public persona, just a realistic understanding of how the industry worked and appreciation for his place in it. Danny DeVito's life has been significantly shaped by his experience with Fairbanks disease, medically known as multiple epiphyseal dysplasia. This rare genetic disorder affects the development of cartilage and bone, particularly at the ends of long bones in the arms and legs. The condition results in shorter stature and can cause joint pain and early onset arthritis. DeVito has lived with this condition his entire life, and it has influenced not just his physical appearance but also his psychological development and career trajectory. Multiple epiphyseal dysplasia is typically inherited in an autosomal dominant pattern, meaning that having just one copy of the altered gene is sufficient to cause the disorder. In DeVito's case, the condition manifested in a way that limited his growth but did not prevent him from leading an active, full life. The disorder can vary significantly in severity from person to person, and DeVito has been relatively fortunate in that his mobility and overall health have not been severely compromised. However, the condition does predispose individuals to joint problems, particularly in the hips and knees, which can worsen with age. Throughout his life, DeVito has had to manage the physical challenges that come with his condition. Joint pain and stiffness are common symptoms of Fairbanks disease, and these issues typically become more pronounced as individuals age. The physical demands of acting, particularly action sequences and long days on set, have required DeVito to be mindful of his body's limitations. Despite these challenges, he has rarely allowed his condition to limit his choice of roles or his commitment to physically demanding performances. The psychological impact of growing up with a visible physical difference cannot be understated. DeVito has spoken about how his condition affected his childhood and adolescence, a time when fitting in feels crucially important to most young people. The development of his sharp wit and humor was directly related to his need to navigate a world that often judges people by their appearance. Rather than becoming bitter or withdrawn, DeVito developed resilience and a strong sense of self-worth that would serve him throughout his life. As DeVito entered his 60s and 70s, the normal aging process combined with his underlying condition has presented new challenges. Arthritis, which is common in people with multiple epiphyseal dysplasia, has likely become more significant. The wear and tear on joints over decades of use can lead to pain and reduced mobility, requiring careful management through physical therapy, exercise, and possibly medication. However, DeVito has continued to work at a pace that would challenge many younger actors, suggesting that he has found effective ways to manage any discomfort. Beyond his genetic condition, DeVito has had to navigate the same health concerns that face many people as they age. Maintaining cardiovascular health, managing weight, and staying physically active become increasingly important in later years. The entertainment industry, with its irregular schedules, travel demands, and social pressures, can make healthy living challenging. DeVito has occasionally been photographed looking heavier or thinner at different points in his career, suggesting the normal fluctuations that many people experience. One aspect of health that becomes particularly relevant for actors is vocal health. DeVito's distinctive gravelly voice is one of his trademarks, but maintaining vocal quality over decades of use requires care. Actors who work consistently, especially those who do voice work or theater, must be mindful of vocal strain and damage. DeVito has managed to preserve his voice well into his 70s, continuing to take on voice acting roles that require sustained performance. Mental health and stress management are also crucial considerations for anyone working in the high-pressure entertainment industry. The constant scrutiny, job insecurity, and competitive nature of Hollywood can take a toll on psychological well-being. DeVito has maintained a remarkably stable career and personal life compared to many of his peers, suggesting emotional resilience and possibly good stress management strategies. His long marriage to Rhea Perlman, despite its eventual separation, provided stability, and his close relationships with his children have likely been important sources of support. The physical demands of his work on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia have been particularly notable given his age. The show has required him to engage in physical comedy that many actors half his age would find challenging. Crawling through tight spaces, performing pratfalls, and engaging in the show's frequently chaotic action sequences all require not just willingness, but also physical capability. That DeVito has continued to perform these stunts well into his 70s speaks to his physical conditioning and determination. DeVito has generally maintained a private approach to his health, not discussing medical issues in detail publicly unless relevant. This discretion is understandable and respectable, as not every aspect of a person's life needs to be public knowledge, even for celebrities. However, his continued active career and public appearances suggest that he has managed his health challenges effectively. He remains mobile, energetic, and engaged with his work, all positive indicators of overall well-being. The entertainment industry has historically not been kind to performers with physical differences, often limiting them to stereotypical or demeaning roles. DeVito's success in transcending these limitations and building a diverse, respected career is a testament not just to his talent, but also to his refusal to be defined solely by his appearance. His health condition, while a significant part of his life experience, has not prevented him from achieving extraordinary success and recognition. One of the most significant losses in Danny DeVito's life was the death of his mother, Julia DeVito, who passed away in 2008 at the age of 101. Julia had been a formative influence on her son, instilling in him the values of resilience, hard work, and self-respect that guided him throughout his career. Her passing marked the end of an era for DeVito, as she had been a constant presence in his life for over 6 decades. The loss of a parent, even when they have lived a long and full life, creates a profound absence. For DeVito, who had maintained close ties with his family throughout his career, his mother's death was deeply felt. Julia DeVito had witnessed her son's entire journey from a working-class kid in New Jersey to one of Hollywood's most recognizable and beloved figures. She had seen him overcome the challenges posed by his physical condition, navigate the difficult entertainment industry, and build not just a successful career, but a meaningful life. Her longevity meant that she was able to see her grandchildren grow and to witness the full scope of her son's achievements. DeVito has spoken fondly of his mother in interviews over the years, crediting her with much of his success and character development. The death of his father, Daniel DeVito Sr., although less documented publicly, was also a significant loss. While there is less public information about when his father passed away, the loss of both parents represents a profound transition in anyone's life. Parents, even when relationships are complicated, represent our connection to our origins, our childhood, and a sense of continuity across generations. Their absence changes how we see ourselves and our place in the world. DeVito also experienced the loss of close friends and colleagues over the years, as is inevitable in a career spanning more than 5 decades. The entertainment industry is a community, and the deaths of fellow actors, directors, and collaborators carry particular weight. These individuals are not just co-workers but often close friends with whom one has shared intense creative experiences. While specific losses are not always publicly discussed, the cumulative effect of losing peers and mentors over time is significant. Perhaps the most publicly discussed personal difficulty in DeVito's life was the separation from his wife, Rhea Perlman. While not a death, the end of their marriage represented a profound loss of a different kind. DeVito and Perlman had met in 1971 when she saw him perform in a play, and they married in 1982. Their relationship spanned more than 4 decades, and they had 3 children together, Lucy, Grace, and Jacob. The couple separated for the first time in 2012, reconciled briefly, but ultimately separated again in 2017, though they never officially divorced. The dissolution of such a long relationship, even when handled amicably, represents the loss of a shared life, shared history, and shared dreams. DeVito and Perlman had built their lives together, raising their children and supporting each other's careers. They had worked together professionally on multiple occasions, including on the film Matilda, where Perlman played the kind teacher Miss Honey to DeVito's terrible father, Harry Wormwood. Their separation was reportedly friendly, with both maintaining that they still cared deeply for each other, but the loss of the romantic partnership after so many years together was undoubtedly difficult. What made their separation particularly complex was that it was not driven by the typical Hollywood pressures of infidelity or public scandal. Instead, it seemed to be a case of 2 people who had grown in different directions over time, eventually recognizing that they might be better as friends and co-parents than as spouses. This kind of separation, while perhaps less dramatic, can be even more emotionally complex because there is no clear villain or wrongdoing to blame, just the sad reality that sometimes love changes form. The impact on their children, even as adults, must also be considered. Lucy DeVito has followed in her parents' footsteps as an actress, appearing in projects including It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia alongside her father. Grace and Jacob have also pursued creative careers. Having parents separate after more than 3 decades of marriage, even when handled maturely, represents a shift in family dynamics and the loss of the family structure as it had always existed. DeVito has also had to witness the health struggles and eventual deaths of colleagues from his various projects. The cast of Taxi, the show that made him famous, has seen several members pass away over the years. Andy Kaufman, his eccentric co-star who played Latka Gravas, died tragically young in 1984 from lung cancer at just 35 years old. Jeff Conaway, who played Bobby Wheeler, struggled with addiction for years before his death in 2011. These losses remind those who remain of their own mortality and the fragility of life. In the broader entertainment community, DeVito has lived through the passing of numerous directors, writers, and actors with whom he worked or whom he admired. The death of Robin Williams in 2014 affected the entire comedy community. The passing of Tim Burton's frequent collaborator, actor, and musician Paul Reubens in 2023 was another loss felt throughout Hollywood. While DeVito may not have been extremely close to all these individuals, the accumulation of such losses over time creates a sense of one's generation gradually disappearing. One particular type of loss that affects those in the public eye is the loss of privacy and normalcy as career success grows. While this is not a death in the traditional sense, it represents the permanent loss of the ability to move through the world anonymously. DeVito has handled fame with remarkable grace, but the loss of ordinary experiences and the constant awareness that one is being watched and judged is its own form of grief. The person you were before fame becomes inaccessible, lost to the past. There is also the loss that comes with aging in an industry that often values youth above experience. While DeVito has managed to remain relevant and working well into his 70s, he has undoubtedly lost opportunities to younger actors and watched as the industry changed in ways that sometimes left his generation behind. The physical capabilities of youth, the energy, the appearance, all gradually diminish, representing losses that must be accepted and adapted to. As of 2024 and 2025, Danny DeVito remains remarkably active and engaged in the entertainment industry at 80 years old. His continued work on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which has been renewed through multiple seasons, keeps him in the public eye and demonstrates his ongoing commitment to his craft. The show's longevity is unprecedented, and DeVito's participation in what is now one of the longest-running sitcoms in television history is a testament to his enduring energy and relevance. He continues to bring the same fearless commitment to Frank Reynolds that he did when he joined the cast nearly 2 decades ago. Beyond Always Sunny, DeVito has remained active in film and voice work. He has taken on various projects that interest him, maintaining the selective approach to roles that has characterized the later stage of his career. Rather than accepting every offer that comes his way, DeVito appears to choose projects based on creative merit, interesting collaborators, or simply because they seem like fun. This freedom to be selective is one of the privileges earned through decades of successful work and financial security. DeVito's relationship with his family remains central to his life. Despite his separation from Rhea Perlman, the two have maintained a close friendship and continue to co-parent their adult children. They are frequently seen together at family events and have spoken publicly about their continued affection and respect for each other. This mature approach to their changed relationship has allowed them to preserve the family unit in a modified form, demonstrating that love can evolve without disappearing entirely. His children have become an increasingly important part of his public life. Lucy DeVito has carved out her own acting career and has appeared alongside her father on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, creating some touching full-circle moments. Grace and Jacob have pursued their own creative paths, and DeVito has been supportive of their endeavors. He has embraced the role of father and grandfather with evident joy, often speaking about his family with warmth and pride in interviews. In recent years, DeVito has also become something of an internet icon, beloved by younger generations who discovered him through Always Sunny or through viral moments on social media. His 2017 appearance on The View, where he showed up disheveled and enthusiastically praised his friendship with George Clooney while sipping from a flask, became legendary. The appearance was both hilarious and endearing, showing DeVito's willingness to not take himself too seriously and to embrace the absurdity of celebrity culture. His social media presence, while not overwhelming, has produced memorable moments. He occasionally posts or tweets, and when he does, it often goes viral. His ability to connect with contemporary internet culture while maintaining his authentic personality has endeared him to audiences who appreciate celebrities who don't try too hard to seem relevant. DeVito simply is himself, and that authenticity resonates across generational divides. DeVito has also remained politically engaged, using his platform to speak out on issues he cares about. He has been vocal in his support for progressive causes and candidates, appearing at rallies and using his social media to advocate for positions he believes in. This activism reflects a lifelong commitment to social justice that stems from his working-class roots and his understanding of economic inequality. He doesn't shy away from controversial positions, demonstrating the independence that comes with being established in one's career. His work as a producer continues through Jersey Films, though the company's output has been less prolific in recent years compared to its heyday in the 90s and early 2000s. Nevertheless, DeVito remains involved in developing projects and supporting filmmakers whose work he finds compelling. His experience and connections in the industry make him a valuable resource for emerging talent, and he seems to enjoy the mentorship role that comes with his status as an industry veteran. Physically, DeVito appears to be managing the challenges of aging remarkably well. While he moves perhaps a bit more carefully than he did in his younger years, he remains mobile and energetic. His continued ability to perform the physical comedy required on Always Sunny suggests that he has maintained his health through whatever combination of genetics, medical care, and personal discipline works for him. He has not slowed down in ways that would suggest serious health problems, and his public appearances show someone who is comfortable and confident in his own skin. DeVito's living situation reflects his bi-coastal lifestyle. He maintains residences in both Los Angeles and New York, allowing him to stay connected to both entertainment hubs and to be near his family regardless of where projects take him. This flexibility is important for someone who values family connection and who has professional obligations on both coasts. Despite his wealth and fame, those who know him describe DeVito as remarkably down-to-earth, someone who has never forgotten where he came from. His daily life, when not working, reportedly includes simple pleasures. DeVito is known to enjoy good food and has been spotted at various restaurants in both New York and Los Angeles. He appreciates fine dining but is equally happy with more casual fare, reflecting his working-class background and lack of pretension. Friends describe him as loyal, funny, and genuinely interested in other people, qualities that have helped him maintain long-term relationships in an industry known for superficiality. The respect DeVito commands in Hollywood is evident in the way other actors and filmmakers speak about him. He is frequently cited as someone who is both talented and kind, a combination that is rarer than it should be in the entertainment industry. Young actors who work with him on Always Sunny have spoken about how much they learn from watching him work and how generous he is with his time and knowledge. This legacy of mentorship and kindness may ultimately be as important as his body of work. DeVito's approach to aging in Hollywood stands in contrast to many of his peers. He has not attempted to hide his age or to maintain an artificially youthful appearance. He looks like a man in his 80s, and he seems perfectly comfortable with that reality. This acceptance of the natural aging process, rather than fighting it through excessive cosmetic intervention, sends a positive message about embracing who you are at every stage of life. His confidence comes from within, from knowing his worth as an artist and as a person. Looking at his current life overall, DeVito appears to be someone who has achieved a sense of peace and contentment. He continues to work because he enjoys it, not because he needs to prove anything. He maintains close relationships with family and friends. He speaks his mind on issues that matter to him. He laughs frequently and seems to genuinely enjoy life. For someone who grew up facing challenges related to his physical difference and economic circumstances, he has built a life that many would envy, not for its fame or wealth, but for its authenticity and richness of experience. His legacy in the entertainment industry is secure. From Taxi to Batman Returns to Matilda to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, DeVito has created a body of work that spans genres and generations. He has proven himself as an actor, director, producer, and voice artist. More importantly, he has done so while maintaining his integrity and humanity. He has never allowed Hollywood to change who he fundamentally is, and that consistency has been the foundation of both his professional success and his personal happiness. Danny DeVito's impact on popular culture extends far beyond his individual performances. He has become an archetype, a reference point, and a beloved figure whose influence can be seen across multiple generations of entertainment. His ability to make his physical stature an asset rather than a limitation has opened doors for other actors who don't fit Hollywood's traditional leading man mold. He demonstrated that talent, charisma, and dedication could overcome superficial industry standards, and in doing so, he helped expand the range of what audiences would accept and celebrate in their entertainment. The characters DeVito has created have become part of the cultural lexicon. Louis De Palma from Taxi remains one of television's most memorable sitcom characters, a scheming dispatcher whose awfulness was somehow endearing. The Penguin in Batman Returns redefined what a comic book villain could be, bringing genuine pathos and complexity to a character that could have been purely cartoonish. Frank Reynolds on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia represents perhaps the culmination of DeVito's willingness to push boundaries, a character so morally bankrupt and absurd that he becomes weirdly lovable. These characters live on in reruns, streaming platforms, and in the collective memory of audiences. As a director, DeVito brought a distinctive sensibility to his projects. Films like The War of the Roses and Throw Mama from the Train showcased his ability to find humor in darkness and to explore the less pleasant aspects of human nature without judgment. His directorial work with Matilda demonstrated his range, showing he could create family-friendly content that still maintained an edge and respected young audiences' intelligence. His work as a producer through Jersey Films has had an outsized impact on cinema. Producing Pulp Fiction alone would be enough to secure his place in film history, as Quentin Tarantino's groundbreaking film changed the landscape of independent cinema. The longevity of DeVito's career is itself remarkable. To remain relevant and working for over 50 years in an industry that constantly chases the new and trendy is an extraordinary achievement. Many actors who were stars in the 70s and 80s faded from public consciousness or retired long ago. DeVito has not only remained visible but has found new audiences and new creative peaks in each decade of his career. This sustained success speaks to his adaptability, his willingness to take risks, and his fundamental talent. As he continues into his 80s, DeVito serves as an example of how to age gracefully in the public eye. He has accepted the physical changes that come with aging without attempting to fight them artificially. He has adapted his career to suit his changing abilities and interests rather than desperately clinging to past glory. He has maintained his sense of humor about himself and about life in general. His continued presence in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia keeps him in the cultural conversation, introducing him to new generations of fans who embrace him through viral moments and social media. His relationship with his family remains central to his life. Despite his separation from Rhea Perlman, the two have maintained a close friendship and continue to co-parent their adult children. His children have pursued their own creative paths, and DeVito has been supportive of their endeavors, embracing the role of father and grandfather with evident joy. This commitment to family, combined with his sustained professional success, demonstrates a life lived with balance and authenticity. The affection that audiences feel for Danny DeVito is genuine and widespread. He is one of those rare celebrities who seems to be universally liked, with few detractors and many devoted fans. This affection stems not just from his work, but from his perceived character. He comes across as genuine, kind, funny, and unpretentious. People sense that what they see is really who he is, and they appreciate that honesty. Looking forward, there is no indication that DeVito intends to retire anytime soon. He continues to take on projects that interest him, maintaining the selective approach that has characterized his later career. His story is still being written, and at 80 years old, he remains active, creative, and engaged with life. Whatever the future holds, DeVito has already secured his place as one of entertainment's most beloved and accomplished figures, proving that success doesn't require conforming to conventional standards and that authenticity will ultimately prevail.